Hello and welcome to season 2 of Own Your Divine Light show. My name is Jannecke Miller and I'm so excited to introduce our next guest, the dynamic Jannecke Øinæs, who is her former musical theater artist in Norway. She has studied musical theater at Circle on the Square in New York and has played roles such as Annie in Annie, Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, and Liesel and the Sound of Music, Rizzo in Greece, Cecily Dar Hove in the TV series Hotel Caesar in Oslo, and more. In 2011, she received a bachelor degree in metaphysics at the university, and in 2015, she completed 4 years of study at the University of Oslo. Jannecke has studied meditation and silence at the University of Oneness in India, and she is also a certified mindfulness instructor. In 2012, she embarked on a new journey, sharing deep and thoughtful conversations with leading thought leaders about the big questions of life on YouTube. Her channel, Wisdom from North, is now over 40,000 subscribers and 5 million views, and it's a phenomenal show, I have to say. I am such a fan. And in 2015, she began arranging live evenings in Oslo. She calls it Wisdom and Wonder Live Evenings, and in 2018, she established Wisdom from North as a company together with co-creative partners. She likes to launch. She is launching Wisdom from North online magazine. She has the Wisdom from North membership platform for a new growth and expansion, offering master classes in-depth teachings with highly recognized thought leaders and transformational teachers. You are doing a lot, Jannecke. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much, Janet. And it's such an honor to be here. I love your work as well. And what you put out here is just so amazing. And you're truly helping people. And I so believe that when we follow our calling, we help other people as well. So it's such a thrill to be here.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I love doing this work like you do. And when I saw you, I said, oh my goodness, I have to interview Jannecke, because her energy and your knowledge is very deep, and your authenticity is so beautiful. As I said earlier when we were talking, you have a beautiful transparency, authenticity, and true curiosity about, what people need to know, and you just bring it through because you need to know. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful radiating out to the world, that this kind of energy and wisdom that you're bringing. So I would love to know, could you tell us more about your story of how you got from being an actor to becoming a teacher of the bigger truths?
Right. Yeah. It's kind of a long story, but I'll make it short and sweet. But I think that awakening starts often with meeting difficulties in life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we meet difficulties or challenges, and all of a sudden life brings on something different and we get out of course, that's when we start to ask the big questions. And I think our soul wants us to dive deep, to learn more about who we are, to open up to a deeper potential that we all have, because it's so easy not to do it, because we're not taught in school to really acknowledge our emotions, how to build the self-esteem, how to find and believe in ourselves, how to listen to our inner voice. Even a lot of us don't even know we have an inner voice. We don't know how to listen. So I think a lot of people are waking up now on the planet, and me as well. I always have been interested in spirituality. It started with the galactic connection for me. I was very connected to the galactic. But then I suppressed that because people called me the UFO girl in high school, stuff like that, or actually middle school. And I felt a little bit weird, so I suppressed it. And then I was working as a child star in Norway, like this child actress. I got a lot of roles. And at that time, we didn't have social media. So it was only this one channel on the Norwegian, in Norway. So I got Little Cosette in Les Miserables, Annie, and I got the premiere before the other girls. I got so much attention, and I heard that I was so good all the time, so talented. And I think I didn't know what to do with this information because I just wanted to be me. But I focused so much on delivering and being perfect and being the best. And because I think as a child, I thought that was love. as long as I got attention and applause from the audience, and the director was like, "You're the best," then I was loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, something happened. So I just had the role of Rizzo in Greece and great reviews. And then I landed the role of Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. But then my voice cracked.
Wow.
Like my voice disappeared. I got nodules on my voice. So I had to turn that role down, and my career was just like going like this. And then all of a sudden I had to be quiet for around 6 months.
Wow.
Could hardly speak. I wasn't allowed to speak. And then all of a sudden I fell down into this depression because I had no idea who I was, because I was going to be a musical theater artist and everything was going so well for me. So that started a long, long journey inwards, where I had to get to know myself. I had to start working on my self-love. I slowly but surely discovered that there was value to me without having to prove anything, without having to be on the stage. I was valuable just by being me. Mm-hmm. And I started to give a respect to my emotions and whatever urges I had. So when I felt that I wanted to explore spirituality, I took that serious, because now I had understood that I need to pay attention to what's going on inside of me. Even though people outside may think it's crazy, I cannot listen to that, because I felt like I had to survive somehow. And the way to survive was actually to put myself first, because I had never done that. I had to love myself. I just understood that. And it was a long, long journey. Like, it took me so many years. And a lot of things happened. But today, I help people expand their consciousness. And I do that through my membership, through my interviews, and through everything I'm doing, because I believe it doesn't have to take so many years that it took me, because I didn't have the support, I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the wisdom. I had to figure it out all by myself. I had to understand that I was valuable without people applauding me. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had an inner voice and that I needed to listen to it. So I'm very passionate about helping people understand that they have an inner intelligence that is talking to them all the time. And that there is, that we all have a calling. We all have something special to come out with. So in many ways, I felt I lost my voice to find my deeper voice.
Mm-hmm.
So life is very powerful. Like, life is so intelligent, but we don't always see it, like when we're in the midst of chaos. But somehow we need to go through some darkness in order to open up to light. And one of my teachers, because I have different masterclass teachers in my membership, and one of my teachers has this class about dark night of the soul. And she's saying that when we are the closest to the light, to the sun, we get blinded, because it's so bright that it almost gets totally dark. So often right before it gets light, it feels very dark. And that's part of the transformation, is part of life, that we have this duality, that we wouldn't know about the light if we didn't experience the dark. So there are gifts in the mud. There are treasures in darkness. And just to know that, I think, can be soothing and can give hope to people who might be experiencing difficult things right now.
Yeah. And it's so amazing how so many people have these amazing stories happening. Their life is going in one way that looks really right, and like that's their life path forever. And then all of a sudden stopped, because the universe is telling you, no, it's not the right path. You need to stop there and go another direction. So that's what happened to you. You totally went that other direction, and you took that and you really used it in the best way you could possibly use it. You went in, which was what this journey is all about. And I think you know, you said it took a long time, and that's probably because the frequencies were a lot heavier then, you know, the light was so heavy and the energy was heavier. We were just clearing through that. I know for me, it's been a journey too. It's been like 20 years. So I understand the journey, and it takes a while for that energy to raise. And right now the energy is like just flying. It's just the frequencies are so strong and they're flowing so much that people, I mean, they're really blessed in so many ways. They're really getting so much benefit, even though it's a harder job in some ways. And even though ours took time, we had a little more time to go in, and we could really like savor it a little bit. There's not much savoring right now. It's like, you've got to go, you've got to move, because that's where the energy is pushing us. So it's a beautiful story that you shared. And I love that you came onto your path, and look at what you've done. I mean, 40,000 viewers is an amazing light in the world, that people are attracted to you and that you have so much to offer, and whatever you're bringing out, you're on the right path now. And the universe will always bring you your gifts and your rewards when you're on the right path. And so there's yours. I mean, I guess you knew that anyway. You might know that, but sometimes it's nice to hear it from other people, because I just think it's amazing. It's a wonderful show and very inspirational. So thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that it's important to share our stories, because you have no idea how much I hated myself and how low self-esteem I had. And I didn't even think that happiness was for me. So I had very many beliefs that was like hindering me all the time. And it does, I think it does demand some willpower and some persistency and some intention setting that you actually want to get out of it. Because I could have stayed in that victim state.
Oh,
it's very easy to do that. So I think this path really demands that we become the heroes in our own lives. That's why I created a membership, because it's so easy to fall back to the default state and the default thoughts and think that that is reality. But I think it's so interesting, because I'm very interested in beliefs, what we subconsciously believe is possible for ourselves. That stems from our childhood often. And Aaron Doughty, who I've interviewed, he's made me aware of that the word belief has lie in it, be live. It has that word lie in it. So a belief is kind of like a lie. It just becomes true because we believe in it. So we can believe whatever we want. And the work is about choosing beliefs that are actually powerful for us instead of disempowering us. For instance, just like a belief like money is just for the rich people, or it's bad to have too much abundance. We have a lot of beliefs about money that is actually hindering us to have abundance, or spirituality and success doesn't go together, or things like that. And I'm not saying that this is true or this is right. What I ask my members is that a belief you want to keep? You know, just ask yourself, what do I want to believe in? And then affirm that. So belief is like a powerful work to go into, and that has changed a lot for me, because for me, I had a belief that it was difficult. No, it was dangerous to have success. It was dangerous because I had a lot of jealousy around me, and it was a lot of pressure to be in all this limelight. So I was a very humble person. So whenever I would, stick my head out, I would get like physical reactions. So I'm working on like soothing myself whenever I get a lot of attention. I'm like, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Because my body is still a little bit scared of too much, like being too visible.
I get you.
Yeah.
I totally
So there's so many
understand.
layers to this.
There is. And being visible is it's a very difficult thing for people to do. And that is a huge belief, because we feel like we're safer when we're not visible, but yet we're miserable because we're not really being who we are. And so it's that fine line, like you said, to feel safe, to do what you need to do, be the light in the world that you're meant to be, but yet people, they hold back because it's scary, but you've broken through that. You've taken that and you've taken the steps to get through it. And then you create your safe space, knowing that you're okay, because people love you for who you are and not for the actor that you used to be, and for the other parts of you, because you're very vulnerable and very transparent. And I think that is a quality that people see and go, well, she's very real. And
Yeah, I
that,
think like when we are ourselves, that is when we connect with each other. So I've come to that, you know, I'm much
yeah,
better at being me than being some weird version of myself that I think
yeah,
people want. But
it's
it's a work in progress. Like I'm still, you know, working on becoming really comfortable in being visible. And I wanted to mention that if people feel that you're scared of being visible, it is something that gets better, because let's say you're taking, okay, you just need to take one step at a time. And when you do that, you expand your comfort zone. And when you expand your comfort zone, all of a sudden that zone where you are, perhaps you dare to stand up and speak in front of, you know, more people. When you do that again and again, all of a sudden that becomes your new standard. And you're like, I'm not afraid of that anymore. How strange. And then you do something else that's a little bit scary. And then that becomes your new standard. And just by going, you know, step by step, expanding more and more, all of a sudden these things that we thought were so scary, it's not scary anymore. And we were like, why did I think that was so scary? That's second nature to me now. And that's so powerful.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
my
true.
tip.
It's true. Taking those steps forward. I know I myself, when I had to break through a fear, I would talk to myself, because I'd say, okay, look, you really want to do this, so just do it. And whatever happens, happens. And then when I got through it, I realized, okay, it wasn't so bad, like you're saying.
Right.
And I got to the other side. I didn't die. I'm okay. I'm still safe. And wow, you know, I've learned so much and I've grown. I like this new feeling. And it's like that expansion just
Yeah.
shows up, like you're saying. And we feel better, because now we're being more who we want to be, and this is who we're meant to be. And the world starts getting a little more easier. It's a little softer, a little flowier, and life is a
Yeah.
little better. Yeah.
Because you, this is my belief, this is what I believe in. You would never have the thought of that dream or that thing you want to do if it wasn't meant for you to do. If it wasn't a potential within you, that thought wouldn't have crossed your mind. It wouldn't. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never dreamt of becoming, I don't know, like what is it called, those who work with animals, who heal animals?
Oh, like a veterinarian.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm not good with dogs and cats and stuff like that. I'm actually allergic. That has never been like a thought. Some people are like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a
Yes.
nurse. I've never had those thoughts because I'm scared of blood. It's not for me. I'm supposed to do something else. So trust that when you have an urge, some like an interest, it is there for a reason. You came down with these gifts, these interests, because you're supposed to explore them, and it's within your reach. But we just need to expand and like raise our frequency, so we're actually able to match that frequency where our soul's calling is, because our soul is always calling for us to do our very best. So it is kind of stepping into being that hero in our own lives. Like our calling is not like a low vibrational calling, it is a high vibrational calling. So our soul wants us to expand and become more who we are, and that's when we match that calling that lies there ready for us.
Yeah. Oh, I so agree with that. So yesterday there was the 10-10 reset for humanity. Have you heard of that one? Yesterday was a huge news, pushing us more out of our comfort zones to discover new ways to empower ourselves. And it's telling us to go out and to see and to do and to be in whole new ways that we've never experienced before. Do you see that happening with those you're working with?
That something is changing in people.
Yeah, well, this new energy is just really bringing another push to us, which we saw in the summer, and now it's getting bigger. I mean, I know you had your webinar, and the webinar you said really created some great interest, and people are stepping into it. So it sounds like, yeah, maybe you did.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think it's developing all the time. That is more and more openness, especially like I can only speak actually for Norway and Scandinavia because that's where I live and I read the papers and everything here. But I see that there is a much more openness to these things. There are not that much judgments towards it anymore. I just see it with my friends. Like I thought my friends were like very atheistic and not into this, and they're doing their own courses now. They're speaking about it. It seems like and especially online entrepreneurs like women, they're all speaking about law of attraction, and it's just like this common thing, of course, like what you put out, it was what you get back. So I think, oh, who was it, Albert Schoneger, I cannot say his name, but he said something along the lines that first they ridicule you, then they think you're lying, and then it just becomes second nature, what you're talking about, something on the lines of that. That this, you know, the pioneers who are coming out with this information are being ridiculed in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like second nature to people. It's like, yeah, of course it is like that. And I'm definitely noticing it. Still, those forces that are working against it, I still feel that they are also very strong. And I think whenever, you know, we are recovering, like I just think about acupuncture. When you have a session with acupuncture, it always gets a bit worse before it gets better. So I think that's like a natural law or something, that yes, resistance comes up, but then it's about like standing in the light and affirming the light and fighting for the light. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. So what keeps your energy positive in going forward? Like how do you work forward and to keep your mind like in a positive frame?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's something I work with every day. I'm actually very interested in the Enneagram. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yes, I am very much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I haven't found out really, but I'm a threer or a four, because they're different, like personality type,
Yes.
1 to 9. And a part of me is very melancholic, and part of me is very emotional, and an unhealthy part of that can be that I'm too melancholic or too emotional, instead of being like more reflective and taking in things and being contemplating and being empathic. So there's like positive things with everything and negative things with everything. So my thing is when I kind of go into this a bit melancholic place, it's actually working with my thoughts. So I'm observing my thoughts and I see if I can choose a more positive thoughts. I see if I can not judge what's coming. And I often notice that my thoughts are very repetitive. It's the same ones I had a long time ago or yesterday. And then I recognize that, oh, that's like that habit thought that I usually think. So let me think another thought. So I really pay attention to my thoughts. And then I meditate every day. So I really decided that I'm going to meditate every day because I really believe in persistency. I think if we want to change our habits, we have to do something on a regular basis. Otherwise, we will fall back to our default state. That is what we've been taught all our lives. And I talk a lot about in my work about how we are social conditioned, that we have learned how we should behave in society, and we maybe modeled our family, what they did, and kind of repeating what everybody else has done, and maybe have created some belief systems that is not positive for ourselves or supportive. So I believe in changing that. And then we actually need to become conscious of what's going on, like observe what is going on in my emotions, what is going on in my thoughts. Why do I say that I cannot do this because ... And that is a very good way to disguise a belief you have. So no, I cannot, have this dinner I just had a dinner for 8 girls yesterday, and I was a bit nervous about it because I'm single and I don't make too many big dinners. Uh, so it could be easy to say, no, I'm just going to buy some sushi because I cannot cook because I'm too clumsy in the kitchen. Like, I could hear a thought come up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not clumsy in the kitchen. What is that about? And then I remembered it was that one time someone in my family said, oh, can you please go away from the kitchen? Don't make too much mess because, I have, I want to control this or something like that. And then I understood that, okay, comes from my childhood. But then I said to myself, I'm not clumsy. I can learn this. So, I went into different recipes and stuff, and I had good time, and it was a success. So I think we have to overcome these limited thoughts by actually being aware of them. One, like awareness is always the first one. And then we have to prove it wrong. So we have to take some action as well, and become that hero that I keep saying, and take that stretch and actually make a new story for yourself, make a new truth. Next time I'll try something else. So I'm doing actually a lot, but meditation is that one thing that I do every day. And then be in nature is also something I try to make happen every day. Yeah.
That's powerful too. It's interesting that you brought up Enneagram, because I had a guest yesterday I interviewed who's a specialist in Enneagram.
Oh, nice.
So Andrea Isaacs. So you may want to check her out. She is really wonderful. She's been doing it a very long time, has a beautiful system, created one with movement, which is so powerful too. And exactly what you were saying, looking up, you can take the test, the EQ test, quickly on her site, and then she'll give you a quick, informative chat with you and let you know what some of these things mean. And then of course you can always go further if you want, but it's a really good and deep look at yourself in ways that you're not aware of. And she says and it's so quick how people can change their ways, like what you're doing, you're changing it because you're looking at the Enneagram. Are you studying it? It seems like you're studying it.
I did for a while.
Okay.
I'm kind of like this person who loves to have different angles and different perspectives. And so I've tried out a lot of things, and it definitely has helped me. But there are other things that I'm practicing too that I feel is helping me. And I think that's what Wisdom from North is standing for, or I don't think, but it is, that we give different perspectives and different teachings, because I know that different things will work for different people. And I actually call it something like, we call it in the membership, the portals, because I feel like a portal is a way in. It is this door you go through into another future, another world, another dimension. So for instance, inner child work is a portal, belief system is a portal, self-love is a portal, setting intentions is a portal, the Enneagram is a portal. So there's all these portals that we can discover and go into. So that is what my work is about. It's like presenting all these different portals through me and different teachers, so we can find, or people can find, what works for them. Because for some people, it's like they have the biggest ahas in inner child work. Other people, it's like the Enneagram. And I just had my girlfriend yesterday. She and her husband went to therapy, and like an Enneagram teacher, and they saved their marriage because they understood that, oh, she was a 7, he was a 2, the helper, and now they understand each other. They don't judge each other anymore. So that portal really helped them.
Yeah, it's so wonderful when you can have the clarity of, well, why do I react like this and she reacts like that? We're never the same. And when you get that clarity, it's a beautiful awakening. And it solved them. It saved their relationship, which is so powerful. Yeah, I love that. And well, we have a lot in common, because my show has a lot of those same ideas of, bringing to people all learning about owning their divine light, which is all about self-love. That's one of the main things, is I think that's the foundation for people to totally you know, if you don't love yourself, you can't give anything back to anyone else. So until you can totally say, okay, I'm done with this shame and the blame and all that, I can be who I am and be happy with the dark and the light sides of me, because the dark has some of those gifts that we don't realize are gifts. And you know, that's a big plus too, you know, because when you said you have melancholy, I'm like, well, that's a great actress.
Yeah.
She's a great actress because she can dip into that melancholy
Yeah.
and really, you know, feel it. So some of those dark sides bring out your gifts, you know, and that's powerful. And so that's what I learned. I'm bringing in the show, that we can learn to love ourselves fully, that wholeness of who we are, the dark and the light, and bring it to people to show them that, you know, and there's ways to do it. There's so many different people, and we're attracted to everything, like you said, all different facets. And yes, I'm also a wonderful seeker of knowledge of many different things like you. So it's so fun when we do these things and you learn this, because our paths, I mean, we are all one. And so, you know, you attract people, I attract people, and then sometimes we attract this, you never know, but there's enough for everyone. And that's what we're coming into with this whole community, this oneness, you know, energy. It's all about, if there's enough for everyone. We're all here to have our
Yeah.
unique signature recognized and to put it out there, because that's what, you know, it's all about. That's what we came here to do, is to put out our unique light and to bring our gifts to everyone, like you're doing. And it's powerful what you're doing. It really is. So so with these reset energies, how do you find humanity is awakening to the new ideas that we're creators, like we can create new ways of being? Like you sort of said that now with the Enneagram. Do you find that people are, you know, owning that they're creators? Are they understanding that they create their realities?
Well, like I said, or previously, I think it is an ascension process going on, that we are waking up to that. But I think still there's a lot of resistance to it. And that's why I think that it's important that those who are so-called light workers, and that has a really clear calling, needs to step up to be a leader for everybody else, because it's not an easy job. Because you know, like I talked about, when you stick your head out, you know, people are, not everybody's going to like you, so it does take some stamina, some spiritual stamina, and some strength and courage, because we you know, when you've been living your whole life just believing one thing, for instance, that there is not enough, like that can be a belief, there's not enough, like we need to fight because there's not enough for everybody, so I need to grab my things to survive. And that's a belief a lot of people have. So changing that, changing like a lifetime of worldview is a big thing. But yeah, it's happening more and more. You just see it on YouTube. Like a few years ago, there was nothing about lucid dreaming and astral projecting. And I had to figure out myself that it was possible to project out of my body. And I did that because I committed to meditate every day for an hour and doing certain techniques. And then I managed to project out of my body. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's another dimension up there. Nobody told me about this. And then I got proof for myself. So there it went from something I believed in to something I knew, which is very powerful. So I think it's so important that people get their own experience from this. That's kind of the second step, not just to learn about it and be inspired, but that they actually get that, the experience that, whoa, this is true. It's something in this. But of course, then that demands that you are have an open mind, so you're actually willing to give it energy to test it out. But yeah, I think definitely we are in an ascension process, and I think this will be more and more common. At the same time, I think perhaps resistance will also grow, because there are those who want to keep that old paradigm. So yeah, but I'm so passionate about people living authentic lives and listening to themselves, and not the experts out there, but listen to the experts within, because that is the truth of who they are.
Right. Right. Well, what we're doing here is we're offering to them that there are possibilities for support if you need it, but there are ways to go within. Obviously, that is the most important thing that this whole new energy is bringing to us. It's all about going within and being in that stillness and being, you know, doing those meditation moments if you choose to, or just going out in nature and sitting there quietly and just watching nature, just being. Like the being part is so important right now, to be in your body and to be enjoying what you're doing and not always doing like we always do.
Mm.
So
And when I mean the experts out there, I mean, I was giving the example, or I was thinking in my mind about people who are saying, you know, you got to do this, you got to follow that, you got to do this, or like go to career advisors, like, okay, you're very good at this, let's do this, or people who are not like in contact with that spiritual side, who is giving you a lot of advice or something, and you feel like, okay, since they, you know, work in this university or something like that, I guess they know what they're talking about. So it's so often that we're giving our power away. And I think, like, when it comes to, because this is what I work with and you work with, when it comes to finding great spiritual teachers, those teachers that I find are, you know, the best are the ones that are giving you the power, that are powering you, not the other way around, saying, you know, I have the truth and this is what you got to do, but saying, you know, who is like finding your gifts and showing them how you can move inwards and how they also have done so, like speak from their own experience as well. So I think it's so important, like with spiritual teachers, to be very humble and heart-centered. And I've interviewed around 400 people, and I think most of them have been really beautiful. But I know there are people out there who are not doing a service in a positive way, who are too much in their ego. It is like that with everything, that we have to follow our intuition. Is that teacher empowering you, or is she or he not? And that's why, like, I'm so, like, probably you as well, like, I really listen to my intuition on who to call, or who to interview, who to work with, because I know that people will listen to that person. So I feel like a great responsibility, actually, when I'm like putting forward a teacher to, you know, those who are following Wisdom from North.
yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I think that's a beautiful explanation of, the best teachers are the ones who empower you. I totally agree with that. And yeah, to be in, and it's discernment. You know, sometimes we have to be able to look and go, all right, that's not for me, even though I like what they say, but it's really not something I could live with, or I can't live that way, or I can't follow that path the way they're describing it. But, you know, like even what we're sharing right here, people are like, well, I don't know if I can do that yet. Like you're saying, there's a lot of resistance, and we're just here to offer you support and new ideas that you may not be aware of, or just old ideas that maybe you needed to hear again. You know, sometimes people already know, but they forgot. And so we're reminding them, we're reminders as well, to remind them what to do and how there's things that can change your life. It's not as hard as you think. I mean, you can put up the resistance and that makes it harder, obviously. But when you just say, okay, let me check it out, let me be open to it, then things flow a little easier for you. So yeah, thank you for that. So I love this phrase called create or complain. So these new energies seem to push us to make choices now. How do you see that affecting people? You can create or you can complain. How would you take that?
That you can create or you can complain. Well, for me, that is, you know, being a conscious co-creator or an unconscious co-creator. So when you complain, you project to the world that everything is wrong with the world, and it's because of my mom or my father or this teacher, you know, who did this to me, and that made me be like this, and I actually ended up having a job I hate because of my father. It is blaming everybody else for where you are. And realizing this is very vulnerable, because of course it hurts. Like if we're not happy where we are, blaming ourselves in a way just feels so much worse. So it kind of feels better to blame someone else. but that is not empowering. Then we're giving our power away. We're actually leaking our energy. Your soul is calling for you to take responsibility for your life, because you have the power to do so. You have the power to do so, and you always have the power to change your life. You can always change your life. Like in this moment, we can always choose a new future for ourselves. Like right here, we have multiple futures, and we can choose a completely new future. And I think that this is the work. Like the work is about becoming a conscious creator, where you become aware of yourself, aware of, oh, I'm projecting onto somebody else. I'm blaming others. Oh, maybe I had, maybe this is something I created. Maybe life is for me. Maybe I'm to learn something from the situation that I'm in the wrong job. Maybe I can actually look into another type of job that might be better for me. Maybe I can find the courage to leave my job. Maybe this is what I needed. And that's when you start to create consciously. And I think, I believe that everything is energy. Einstein said it, E=mc². And that our inner landscape is reflected outside, and vice versa. So I think that we're not creating everything 100%. I think that somehow we are co-creating with the universe and our higher self. So it is this kind of co-creation going on, but we have free will. So we can definitely say no to our calling. We can continue complaining if we want, but where will that lead us eventually? It will only distract ourselves more and more. So taking responsibility for our lives, I think that's what we're called to do, even if it is kind of vulnerable to come to that place that, wow, that is what I need to do. Like I can't blame anybody else. It's like I have to take responsibility. That's a huge thing. But when you start doing that, that's when I say, like, step into your true soul power. You're not giving your power away to everybody else there. You're taking the power back, and you start to create, and from a whole different level of consciousness. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy. I think a lot of people wake up with a bang in a sense that that it's like, whoa, what have I been doing? Whoa, is there another way of looking at life? Whoa, is there more to me? And that stage is very exciting, but can be very confusing, And that's when I think it's good to have teachers that can talk about it, that have been there, that you're not the only one. It will be chaotic in the beginning, but as you embark on the journey, things will start to make sense. But there is a journey to take there.
Yeah. Oh, that was beautifully said. Thank you for that. That was the best explanation I think I've heard anyone give of that. So that was so nice. Thank you. And I hope that helped people, because I think that was so supportive. Yeah. I mean, I know I was in the blame game for years. It took a long time to get out of it. And so I understand when people are in that, and it's not like no one's judging them either. It's not a judgment. It's just a learning. You're learning to change that, to make a better way for yourself, like you were saying. And none of us are in a judgment when you're blaming and shaming. You just have to look at it and go, stop. What's that doing for you? Is it changing you, or is it just keeping you stuck? And that's the whole thing, right? So what do you offer for support in the work that you do? What is the one thing you offer that you think has made the biggest difference for people?
Well, I think that's got to do with my membership, actually. Are you thinking about like what I offer?
Whatever you think. Yeah, anything in your courses, what you teach, what you want. Yeah, anything like that. Just.
Yeah, in 2017, I felt that my interviews was not enough. Like people didn't have that big transformation that I really wanted to give people. It got them new perspectives and insights, but I felt that there wasn't a community, and I didn't know if, people were changing or doing the work, and we didn't have like any like practices that you could do, for instance. So I wanted to create this place where you could actually embark on the journey, which is not a quick fix. It is a journey, and have more people to do it with, because we need each other's support. I felt that I was walking this journey such a long time, totally alone. And I felt so lonely. I thought, you know, nobody, or people thought I was crazy. And I felt my friends thought I was weird, and I didn't have that support. And then I realized that, you know, this is what I want to create. I want to create a membership where we're walking the path together, where you have that support, and where you have those practices, those portals that you're actually going through, so you can get your own experience yourself, and be part of something where you don't fall back to the default mechanism. Because I think it's so important to have a continuous inspiration, continuously diving into wisdom, and continuously practicing, because practice makes better. You know, when you're focusing on something on over a longer time, then you're starting slowly but surely to see the results, and see the transformation, and see the change. So I created this membership where my members are getting one new masterclass every month from a new teacher, like from the best teachers that I have come across through then 7 years and interviewing 400 people. So they receive then a new masterclass from a highly recognized teacher. And at the same time, they get a live session with me every month in our community group. So we have this closed Facebook tribe group with beautiful people from all over the world, actually, from Sydney, from India, from Scandinavia, of course. And there I'm giving like this live session every month where I'm going through a portal, like either if it's inner child work or visualization, making a vision board, training our observation, training gratitude, training intention setting, changing our beliefs, all these things. And as a member, you get many other things, like a library of meditations, for instance, that were made for you. So you have that ability to actually practice on a regular basis, which I know makes the difference. It's about giving energy to something, because what you put energy into is what will grow. Like where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. I really believe that. And we're actually open now for this summit, actually, because we are actually closed, but we wanted to make this a possibility for everybody watching. So we're opening now the membership for 3 days, where people can test it out. If you want, you can check it out. And you have this $1 trial where you can test the membership out for 7 days, and you can see if it is for you.
That's
so
fantastic.
you can actually say that you get like 10 masterclasses for $1.
Wow.
If you decide not to continue. So that's something I wanted to offer.
Thank you so much. So that is your gift. That's what you're telling us. So I can let the audience, you're telling us about your gift, which is so fabulous. Wow.
Yes, I also have another gift, and that is completely free. I wanted to give out 3 meditations that I think can really support you. And that meditation is Meet Your Future Self, where you actually co-creating with your future self. It's a visualization meditation, really powerful. And then we have an inner child meditation that I made, because I really believe in inner child work, where you're meeting your inner child, and where you have the possibility to change a belief that is not empowering you. And then I have another meditation that's called Letting Go of Comparison, because when we are stepping into our light,
Sorry.
Go
ahead. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's so important that we are not putting other people on pedestal and putting ourselves below that. So you will train yourself to be able to see yourself as an equal to those you admire. So you actually step into much more of your soul power. So those are completely free, like 3 meditations. And then we have, the membership if you want to test that out for $1. And we are open for 3 days only for you guys.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, that is a beautiful, beautiful gift. And I would highly recommend everyone checking that out because it is a beautiful thing. And so do you have a special message for people for the rest of 2019 and coming into 2020? What do you see coming in there too? Do you have a little message for either of those or both?
Yes, I mean, my message is always about self-love. Self-love is the opposite of being egoistic. And my message would be to prioritize yourself. Even though you might have 5 kids and so much at work, prioritize yourself, because when you fill yourself up with self-love, then your frequency will vibrate on a much higher level, and then you're much more able to give so much more to your kids, to your work. We always have to start with ourselves and have an open mind. Have an open mind. Start paying attention to synchronicities and how life is for you. Life is not against you, even though bad things happen, like challenges happened. Life is for you. It is there for a reason. There are no coincidences. There are only co-creative incidences. So pay attention to those synchronicities. When you see that I thought about a person, now the person is appearing, I created that. That's a synchronicity. When you start paying attention to these magical aspects of life, that becomes miracles. I learned that in India at this ashram. Pay attention to synchronicities. They become miracles. And then all of a sudden you start believing for real, deep down in your subconsciousness, that life is for you. And that's when you will start to create that more and more and see that in your reality. So really have faith. If you lose faith, that's okay. Don't judge yourself for it. It's part of the journey. Just stay on the journey. Keep prioritizing yourself anymore. Keep pouring yourself full with self-love, and see if you cannot let go of judgment towards yourself as much as you can, to accept whatever is going on within you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can't accept it, get some support, share it with somebody that you can trust, or somebody that, like Jannecke, that works with this kind of energy and knows what to do and can help you through it, because she's been through it. We've all been through it. So I know there was a little story about India. I don't know if we have time, but we're getting close. So do you have time to share it, or is it too much?
Well, okay, I'll make it short, because it's kind of funny, because a while ago I went to India to become enlightened. That was my goal. But I discovered that that was mainly my ego who wanted to become like this big spiritual teacher. And all I experienced was deep darkness there, deep darkness for a month. And that was for a reason. That was for a reason, because I had to look at my own shadows to see, to move beyond that, to accept everything that was there. And I noticed when I came home, I had worked through so much of my shadows, but I expected that I was going to be so peaceful, and I experienced the opposite.
Wow. Isn't that interesting how that happens? Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the energy's there, knew what you needed.
Yeah.
So how do you feel after that trip? Did you feel like so much lighter once you got back? What did you feel like, such a lifting?
I actually had to like move away a bit from spirituality, because I was so disappointed that I didn't become enlightened.
Okay. It gave you it was giving you a choice of which way to go. It was sort of like testing you. It almost was like a test.
I think so. Yeah. And I got to know my darkness a lot more, and I had to work through that. But it wasn't long after that I started with Wisdom from North, and I actually started interviewing people, being humble, being wanting to, being someone who wanted to learn instead of someone who wanted to be the spiritual guru. So yeah, I think it was a purpose with me going there. Yeah.
That's a great awakening right there. That's a huge moment for you. Yeah, those are not easy moments. So just to let people know, see, these are the things you go through sometimes when you're trying to, when you're going on your spiritual path and when you're really committing to it. And then look what opened up, Wisdom from North. Wow. How beautiful. How beautiful is that? That's fantastic.
I could have never imagined wisdom from North. It just kind of came to me and I just followed it, that hunch. So, I mean, life is so intelligent. I'm in awe. Like I thought that everything was screwed up after that India trip, but it was humbling, but there was a deeper reason for that trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How powerful. Wow. That was a big moment.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for your beautiful gift. Really appreciate that. And I want to thank our audience for tuning in. And we love you to, give us any comments, email, please. I always answer you if I can. Jannecke, we'll have a link to Jannecke so she can also answer you if you'd like to talk to her. And we just love your feedback. So please email, and I do answer them personally. So that's going to happen. And Jannecke, thank you so much I'm calling you a towering bridge of enlightenment and illuminator of the new truth for people to be aware of, because you are. And in so many ways, even though, because of the way you put out your energy. I mean, your energy is so fantastic, and it's so lively, and it just draws you in. So you're almost like a tower. Well, you're a tower of light that just keeps, it's like a magnetic light. And
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
I really feel that with you, and that's me. So that's how I see you. And for people, and you've illuminated all these new truths for people and to be aware of, and you brought all these availability of the teachers with so much wisdom, and all this that you're bringing through your Wisdom from North show is just so empowering. You're empowering people to unlock their passions, ignite their authenticities, and finally to create the lives they love. And thank you so much for being here again today. And I am Jannecke Miller, and I will see you on the next episode.